Welcome to Echoes of Evidence, the podcast that delves deep into the shadows of crime. Together, we'll navigate the labyrinth of mysteries, uncovering the dark secrets and hidden truths that lie beneath the surface. In each episode, we will dissect infamous cases, explore chilling stories, and bring you closer to the minds of those who walk the thin line between good and evil. So, dear listeners, prepare yourselves for a journey into the heart of darkness, where every whisper tells a tale and every echo reveals a piece of evidence. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and let the investigation begin.
Okay, folks, get ready, because today's story is about as spicy as a vindaloo. We're going deep into the life of a man who went from, well, basically nothing, to a global food empire. But hold on tight, because this tale takes a dark turn with obsession, crime, and maybe even, a little bit of bad karma.
It's one of those stories that really makes you think truth is stranger than fiction, you know? It all starts with a simple dosa maker, P. Rajagopal.
That's right, dosas, those amazing South Indian crispy crepes. This guy, Rajagopal, he was the brains behind Saravana Bhavan, and if you haven't heard of it, well, you're missing out. This restaurant chain took the world by storm. I mean, they're everywhere. New York, London, Dubai, the whole nine yards.
Truly a global phenomenon.
Exactly. So how did this Dosa King go from, like, zero to hero? And more importantly, how did it all go so wrong?
Well, let's start at the beginning. His story is actually quite fascinating. Back in 1981, he starts small, in Chennai. And what was his secret?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Quality and customer satisfaction. I know, it sounds pretty basic today, but back then it was revolutionary. Fresh ingredients, standardized recipes, the whole system was designed to make sure every dosa was delicious, every single time.
He basically turned dosa making into, like, a science. No wonder people loved it.
Precisely. But, and there's always a but, right? Behind all the success, whispers started circulating. There were rumors of a darker side, a stubbornness driven by, well, superstition.
Ooh, this is where things get interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a successful entrepreneur, a love for dosas, and a bit of a mystical side.
Oh, absolutely. He was deeply into astrology and fortune telling. And let me tell you, these beliefs, they play a key role in his downfall.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. Can you give us a little sneak peek what happened?
Let's just say Rajagopal's ambition wasn't limited to just dosas. He had a bit of a weakness for the ladies. And his superstitions, well, they led him down a dangerous path.
Okay, wait, hold on. You've got to spill the tea. What went down?
All right. Imagine this. It's the late 90s. Rajagopal is on top of the world. Everything's coming up roses. And then enter Jiva Jyothi,
Jiva Jyothi. Who was she?
the beautiful daughter of one of his employees. Smart, vibrant, and, well, unfortunately for her, she caught Rajagopal's eye.
Oh, this doesn't sound good. Was she, single? Available?
Nope. Happily married, deeply in love with her husband. But Rajagopal, he convinced himself that she was the key to his happiness, his success, everything.
Hold on, wait. He was already married twice, if I remember correctly. What made him think he could just, waltz in?
Well, it gets a little strange here. Apparently, an astrologer told him that marrying Jiva Jyothi was his destiny. It would bring him even greater fortunes, spiritual fulfillment, all that. And remember, this is a man who takes his superstitions very seriously.
Wow, talk about a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So what did he do? Did he, propose?
He tried. But Jiva Jyothi wasn't interested, not even a little bit. She loved her husband, wanted nothing to do with Rajagopal's advances, no matter how much money or power he threw around. But you see, Rajagopal was not a man who took no for an answer, especially when he believed something was, his destiny.
Okay, I think I know where this is going, and I don't like it one bit. What did he do next? Okay, so we're left with this image. A successful, powerful, but kind of misguided Dosa King head over heels for a woman who wants absolutely nothing to do with him. This can't end well, right?
No, it doesn't. Rejection, you see, only made Rajagopal's obsession stronger. Lavish gifts, financial incentives, you name it, he showered her family with it all.
Wow, he really thought he could just buy her, huh?
It seems that way. He even went as far as threats and intimidation.
A classic case of power and delusion gone wrong. I mean, this guy, he was the Dosa King. He probably wasn't used to hearing no.
Exactly. He was used to getting his way. But Jiva Jyothi and her family, they stood their ground. They weren't going to be bullied or bought. And this is where things take a really dark turn.
Uh-oh. I have a bad feeling about this. You're going to tell me he didn't?
I'm afraid so. In 2001, consumed by rage and convinced of his warped destiny, Rajagopal did the unthinkable. He orchestrated the abduction and murder of Jiva Jyothi's husband.
This is just chilling. I mean, we knew this guy had a dark side, but murder. It's hard to believe the guy known for serving up delicious dosas could be capable of something so horrific.
It just goes to show how dangerous power can be without, a moral compass. This whole story is just a classic example of unchecked ambition and a belief that you're invincible. And it can lead to, well, terrible consequences.
So what happened after the murder? Did Rajagopal actually think he could get away with it?
He tried, that's for sure. Used his wealth and influence, tried to cover his tracks, intimidated witnesses, the whole 9 yards. But Jiva Jyothi, even with the grief and trauma she was facing, she refused to stay silent.
Wow. What an incredible woman to stand up to the Dosa King after what he did. That takes some serious courage.
It really does. She filed charges against him, determined to see him brought to justice. It was a real David versus Goliath situation. Rajagopal with his high-powered lawyers trying to, delay everything, derail the whole case.
Feels like a tough fight. So what happened next?
Well, it took years. Years of legal battles. The case dragged on and on, showing just how complex and, well, sometimes frustrating the Indian judicial system can be. But Jiva Jyothi never gave up. Give her credit for that. Finally, in 2004, the trial court found Rajagopal guilty, sentenced him to 10 years for culpable homicide.
Wait, 10 years? For murder? That doesn't seem...
You're right, it was a controversial verdict. And of course, Rajagopal appealed, used his money to stay free on bail while the case went through the courts. What do you think happened next?
Did he finally get what he deserved? Did the system actually hold this guy accountable? I mean, he was a powerful man.
Yes, it was a victory for justice. In 2009, the case reached the Supreme Court of India. And finally, after years of fighting and Jiva Jyothi's unwavering pursuit of justice, the Supreme Court upheld the conviction. And they increased his sentence to life imprisonment.
Wow. What a moment. The Dosa King, brought down not by some business rival or, changing tastes, but by his own actions. Talk about a fall from grace.
Absolutely. This case, it captivated the entire nation. It sparked important conversations about power, privilege, and, well, how justice isn't always fair, especially when it comes to powerful men like Rajagopal.
And it also showed the courage of women like Jiva Jyothi, who stand up and refuse to be silenced, even when facing incredible obstacles and personal tragedy.
Exactly. Her story resonated with so many people. It really highlighted the deep-seated issues: harassment, violence against women, and the desperate need for a legal system that actually protects victims and makes sure justice is served.
It's a good reminder that behind all these headlines and drama, real people's lives are deeply affected. It really makes you wonder, what if Jiva Jyothi hadn't been so brave? What if she hadn't fought for justice?
It's a sobering thought. It's possible Rajagopal would have gotten away with it. His Dosa empire would continue as if nothing happened. And Jiva Jyothi's voice, lost, unheard. It really shows her strength and perseverance. She brought about some measure of accountability, even if it was delayed.
And what about the business? What happened to the whole Saravana Bhavan empire after all this?
Well, it's hard to separate a brand from its founder, especially in a case this big. Saravana Bhavan, which was once a symbol of success, it became associated with scandal and crime.
So the Dosa empire crumbled.
In a way, yes. While the chain still exists, it's a shadow of what it used to be. Rajagopal's downfall really tarnished the brand. It's a cautionary tale for sure. Ethical leadership matters. You can't build success on deceit and violence. It's just too fragile.
The Dosa King's reign ended, not with a bang, but a whimper. Stripped of his power, his reputation in ruins, facing a life behind bars. What a dramatic fall from grace.
It's a story that continues to fascinate and, well, horrify people even today. It has so many layers: the allure of success, the danger of ambition, the courage of speaking truth to power, and the long road to justice.
And speaking of justice, what happened to Rajagopal in the end? Did he actually serve his life sentence?
The last chapter of Rajagopal's story is almost as dramatic as the rest. In 2019, just days after the Supreme Court rejected his final appeal, the one ordering him to surrender and begin his sentence, he died in a hospital while in police custody.
Wow. Talk about a dramatic end to a dramatic life. It's almost Shakespearean, The Dosa King, brought down by his own fatal flaws.
It's definitely a story that sticks with you, makes you think about the nature of power, the consequences of your actions, and how important it is to hold on to your values, even when faced with temptation.
So we've gone through this incredible rise and fall of P. Rajagopal, the Dosa King, who let his ambition and obsession consume him. It's both captivating and cautionary for sure. But what about Jiva Jyothi? What happened to her after all this?
Jivajothi's story is one of incredible resilience. She endured unimaginable loss, a grueling legal battle, but she came out of it a symbol of strength and courage.
Her story is truly inspiring.
Absolutely. She became an advocate for women's rights, working to raise awareness about domestic violence, pushing for legal reforms to protect victims.
Hmm.
It's amazing to think about how this case had such a big impact. It wasn't just some, tabloid drama. It really got people talking about these serious societal issues.
Yeah, exactly. It really forced people to confront the reality of gender-based violence and how important it is to hold people accountable, especially when it's men in positions of power, like Rajagopal.
Yeah.
Like a reminder that even when something terrible happens, there's still hope, there's resilience, and there's always the chance for things to change for the better. But before we wrap up this whole deep dive, I got to ask, what are your big takeaways from all this? But what do you hope our listeners will remember about this whole story?
I think the biggest thing is just how important it is to use power responsibly, ethically. Rajagopal's story, it's a warning, When ambition and greed get out of control, things can go really wrong.
That's a good point. And I also hope they remember how incredibly brave Jiva Jyothi was. I mean, she went through so much, faced incredible obstacles, but she never gave up on justice. It's inspiring. She's a reminder to all of us that we need to speak truth to power, stand up for what's right, and never underestimate how much one voice can change things.
It's a good reminder that we all have a part to play in creating a more just world, a more equal world. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just speak up. Don't be silenced, demand accountability. It doesn't matter how powerful the people you're up against are.
So there you have it, folks. The Tale of the Dosa King. A story full of ambition, obsession, crime, and, well, in the end, justice prevailed, even if it took a while. It's one of those stories that just makes you think. It sticks with you long after you finished your last dosa.
It really does. And it leaves us with a question, a thought-provoking one. What if Jiva Jyothi hadn't spoken up? Would Rajagopal have faced any consequences at all? It makes you think about the responsibility we all have to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard, even when it feels risky.
Because sometimes it's the smallest act of courage that creates the biggest wave of change. That's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. And remember, stay spicy, but stay ethical, and always fight for what you believe in.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Echoes of Evidence. Your support helps us bring you more intriguing stories that entertain and spark curiosity. We can't wait to have you back for our next episode, where we'll explore another captivating tale that will keep you hooked till the very end. Until then, stay curious, and thank you for being a part of our community.